Hello everyone. Today I'm going to help you complete your QBASIC and JavaScript homework. So the homework is to calculate the area of a trapezium using two high-level languages. The first one is QBASIC and the second one is JavaScript. After we write our program in QBASIC, we'll convert it to QR code, and also after writing the JavaScript program, we will also convert it to QR code. So let's follow these processes. Now you can use a phone or a laptop, and please, if you are a parent or a lesson teacher, please allow your students to do this by themselves. It will help them to understand the concepts more, and it will also help their own confidence. Now, I've also prepared a PDF file which will be in the description of this video, so you can download this file I'm using from there. So the first thing we see in the homework page is go to this website. That's this website here. So in order to go to the website, just hover around it, right click, or rather let's just copy it. So let me do the simple one that everybody can do. So I'm going to copy this, and then in a new tab, whether I'm using a phone or a laptop, I'll go to my Chrome. In a new tab, I'll paste that link that I've copied, which is this one, and then I press enter, and immediately we can now see that we are in the QBASIC environment. This is the environment where we type our QBASIC code. Okay, so if you have gotten to this part, well done. Now the next thing is to let's go back to the homework. Okay, alright, so it says write a program to calculate the area of a trapezium using QBASIC. The algorithm is in the next page. So this is the next page, and these are all the processes we will follow for both writing it in QBASIC and also in JavaScript. So for the QBASIC, it says write the name of the program in a comment line and add your full name. So in order for us to do this, let's go to our QBASIC environment. In order for us to do this, we'll go back to the QBASIC environment, and we'll now type a comment that will explain what we are trying to do, and we'll also add our full name. So in order to do this, just type REM space a program to calculate the area of a trapezium. Okay, now the word REM means remark. It's just a line to remind us on what the program actually does. So it's just a line to remind us on what the program actually does. That's the use of this line. So this is where you put your name. So for instance, if your name is John Nick, you can put it like this, but so whatever your name and surname is, you put it there. It's your code, so you should claim ownership. So me, I'm going to put Mr. Yaro. Okay, and I press enter. Then I go back to my PDF, and the next thing is ask the user to enter the base of the trapezium. Now let's remind ourselves how a trapezium looks like. So on this page, you would see that there are three things that are needed to calculate the area of a triangle: the top side, which I call A, the base, which I call B, and the height, which I call H. So the user needs to give us these three inputs in order for us to calculate the area of any given trapezium. Now, in order to receive input from a user, we use the input statement. So I'm going to type input space, open a quotation mark, and type enter the base of the trapezium. Okay, colon and closing quotation mark, and then I put comma, and I'm going to type B. Why am I typing B here? Because when the user, whatever the value that the user gives to us, we want to store it in a variable. Just like a mass that you say let B equal to 10. So that's exactly what we're doing. So whatever the user gives us as the base of the trapezium will be stored in the variable name called b. So we're going to repeat this for both the next step. It says ask the user to enter the length of the top side of the trapezium. This should be 3. This should be number 3, but we can move on. So we'll go back to our code and say input. Anytime we need the user to give us a particular value, we use the input statement. So input, enter the height of the trapezium. Okay, h, let's call the height h, and then in the third line we do input, enter the top side of the trapezium, which we call a. Okay, now having done these 3 things, while still working on the input statement, there's something we need to do. This, anytime I'm using the input statement, the value that it gives us does not come in a number format. It comes in what we call a string format. So we need to convert it to a numbers format before we can now use the formula to calculate. If not, the formula will not work. How do we convert it to a number format? So for each of them, let's start from b. We'll say b equal to val open bracket b and close bracket. So this particular line will change b from the variable b from being a string to a what? To a number, because you cannot calculate anything except everything is in the numbers format. You need numbers to do multiplication. So that's what this line is for. So I'll do the same thing for h equal to val h, and then a equal to val a. Okay, so we're done with all the things we are getting from the user. Now the next step says calculate the area using the formula. Now this is the formula for calculating a trapezium. So we will declare a variable called area and then do the mass and then do the calculation of the area using this formula. So we'll say let area equal to 1/2 times b, no, 1/2 open bracket a plus b close bracket and times h. So this line will help us to calculate the area of the trapezium and store it in a variable called area. And then the next thing we'll do is to display the result. So we'll come here, we'll go down to the next line and say print the area of the trapezium is a closing quotation mark, comma, no, not comma this time, semicolon. The print statement uses a semicolon, not a comma. So after typing this, the area of the trapezium, and putting a quote around it, you put a semicolon and you type area, which is also this name here. So what this line is going to do is that it's going to tell us that the area of the trapezium is whatever we calculate in this line. So whatever the value is in this line 8, that is what is going to be printed out in line 9. Okay, and the last thing we do after typing our basic program is to end the program. Okay, so I'll go back to my basic interface and just type my QBASIC environment and just type end. Then I'll go on top to this place where I have something like a play button. Hover around it, you see run. So you click on this run and it will kickstart your program. So for our case study, let's say the base of the trapezium is 10, the height is 4, and the top side is 8. So this, if you want to calculate this in math, this should be 10 plus 18, the base plus the top side, b plus a, right? Or a plus b. 8 plus 10, 18, times 4, that is 72, then divided by 2 should give you 36. So if this program runs correctly, so 36 rather, 36. Okay, so it gives us the right answer. So you can do this too in math. do half times 10 plus 8 times 4, do it with a calculator or whatever, do it like you do it in math, and say that it's 36. So we have successfully written a program that can calculate the area of any given trapezium. Now to go back, I click on this button, slide view right. So once I click on this, I'm back to my coding interface. So we're done with the first part of this homework. So the next part says copy the QBASIC code and convert to QR code. How do we do this? Now go back to our QBASIC environment and highlight everything we have done here. Right click, copy. Now go to a new tab and type qaro.io. Hit enter, and when you go to the qaro.io website, it's going to first be on link. It's going to be like this on link. Click test, and then you come back to this message and you paste what you copied. So this is my code, everything is here. After pasting it, to convert it to a QR code for you, and you click on download. Okay, you can download it as either a JPEG format, that's the JPG, and the PNG format. I prefer PNG, but either of these two would work. So let's use PNG. Okay, it will show you where to save whatever you are downloading. So let me save it in, okay, let me just save it in downloads. Okay, so let me call this QBASIC QARO code and press save. Okay, so we're done with the second part of the work. Now for the third part, it said go to this website on the web browser and write a program to calculate the same area of a trapezium using JavaScript, using the same algorithm. Now you don't need to even go to the algorithm page again. Just copy this link. Okay, copy this link, press copy, create a new tab and press enter. Okay, so the previous one we did was the QBASIC environment. So this is an online environment where we can write JavaScript code. Now I'm going to start by going back to the QBASIC code, to the QBASIC environment rather. Yes, to the QBASIC environment, and I'm going to copy all this code here. I'll press copy, and I'll go to the JavaScript environment and I'll paste it. Now if I come to this place where I see where you have run here and I run this, it's going to give me an error. Reason being that the way we write codes in QBASIC is not the way we do it in JavaScript. The way we write code in QBASIC is not the way we do it in JavaScript. So let's start adjusting all the lines of code in order to suit what we can do or what we have in JavaScript. So the first thing, this ROEM, there's nothing like ROEM in JavaScript. If you want to write a comment, we change this ROEM, remove ROEM and put 2/ like this. So that is the equivalent of the ROEM statement in JavaScript. So for QBASIC it is ROEM, for JavaScript it is 2/. Okay, now the interface we are using will not allow us to do an input from the user, so we need to remove all these input statements and also all these value statements, remove everything, and instead start declaring our values for base, height, and the ape and the other side by ourselves. So we're going to say let b, which is the base, equal to, I think okay, let's give it any value, 20. Let a equal to 10, and let h equal to 6. So this should give me 20 plus 10, 30 times 6, 180 divided by 290. So if this runs correctly, the answer should be 90. Now this line 5 is going to be the same thing, except that in JavaScript we do not use capital letters to write our statement. Instead we use small letters. So this capital letter let that I wrote in line 5, I will change it to small letter or true. So let area equal to the same formula. The formulas will work the same way. Okay, now though it is also important to note that when we're writing a formula, we do not use times to do multiplication, we use asterisk. This asterisk symbol is what actually runs the multiplication or makes the multiplication to happen. So this is half times a plus b times h. Okay, so now for this next line, there's nothing like print statement in JavaScript. What we have is what we call the console.log. So you spell console, put dot and put log, and after typing the console.log, you put an opening bracket after the log and then a closing bracket after the area. Okay, an opening bracket after the log, that's in between the log and the opening quotation mark, and then a closing bracket at the end of the line. After that, the only thing we also change is to remove this semicolon and just put a plus sign here. Okay, so this should run properly. And in JavaScript we do not have an end statement, so we can remove this as well. So you don't need to sign it. To show you an option to sign in, but you don't need to sign in. So I'll go to this run again this time, and I press run, and it gives me as expected the area of the trapezium is 90. You can calculate it yourself using these values, and you see that the answer is correctly 90. So if you have actually come to this part of the video, I want to tell you well done, and you're almost done with everything. So the next part of the homework says copy the JavaScript code which we have just done and convert to QR code also. So this is my JavaScript code. I'll copy everything, and then I'll also create a new tab again and go back to the same website, qaro.io, and hit enter. It's going to show me link, but I don't need it as a link, I need it as a test. Once I have my test, I go to where I have message. It says write your test here. Right click and paste, just like we did for the first one, and it will also generate our QR code. So we download the code again, also as PNG, and we save it as download. Okay, so we've downloaded this. Now after downloading this, I can go to my file explorer and check my downloads. Okay, so this one is QBASIC and this one is for JavaScript. So let me just rename this one to JavaScript QR code. Okay, all right, these are my two QR codes. So the final part of the homework says print both QR codes on one page by importing the two QR code pictures in Microsoft Word and type your name and class boldly on top. This is how to do it. Open Microsoft Word. You can still access Microsoft Word on your phone, but if this part is too technical for you, can take you to a cyber cafe where they can do this part for you, putting the two QR codes on one page and typing your name. They can do that easily. But if you follow this video, you can also do it yourself without even going to a cyber cafe. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so this is my Microsoft Word. Make it bold. So I'll go to insert, click on insert, click on pictures, then I'll go to downloads. That is where, remember, this is where I kept my JavaScript and QBASIC code. So I'm going to select the two of them. To select them, if you're using a phone, you can just click on both, but if you're using a laptop, left click, hold down and drag to highlight both pictures. Once you've highlighted both pictures, you can then do inserts. Okay, and your two pictures are going to appear, but it's too big. I want to reduce the size of each of them, or of both of them, so that it won't take too much space, so that both of them can fit in one Microsoft Word page. So you can make this as small as possible. It does not have to be big, but not too small anyway. So I think this size is enough. Okay, and I'm going to go to format. Where you have format, click on, make sure you click on format and then go to wrap text, change it to behind text. Okay, so this is the second one. I'll make it smaller and also change it to behind text so that I can move it. Okay, go to the format section of the page and change both text to be, and okay, in order for you to be able to move these images, let me go over it again. You highlight the image you want to move, go to wrap text and make sure it is in behind text or in front of text. Either of these two will work, but now I'm using behind text. Okay, so I click on behind text. I'll do the same thing for the second image, behind text. That's the reason why I can be able to move the images like this. So now on this page, if we press the enter key, we can shift these images a bit down. Okay, so we can type our name here, for instance Mr. Yaro, and let's say GS2C, and this is all you are doing. You can make this as big as possible if you want, but make sure everything is on one page and make sure it's bold so I can centralize. Okay, so this is how it should be. So you can go to you can copy this document from your phone or to your phone and go to any place where they print to actually print this, and this is what they are submitting. So I know this is a lot, but I'll show you. If you follow each step carefully, you would be able to do it. That any student will be able to do it. Please do not do it for any student. Let them do it themselves and make their mistakes. And also, if you are stuck at any point, I'm going to leave my number here, so you can send me a screenshot of the code you typed and I would be able to tell you why it did not work or what you are supposed to do next. So this is the end. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all do this. Thank you very much.